Zion Williamson's situation isn't looking too hot right now. He finally got back on the court after dealing with health stuff, and you'd think that would mean that the New Orleans Pelicans were all set for a solid season. But let me tell you, after their game against the Los Angeles Lakers, it's pretty clear that the Pelicans have a huge Zion Williamson problem. No pun intended. Now, for some context on why this has become such a big deal, the New Orleans Pelicans really pulled off something impressive when they made it to the Western Conference in-season tournament finals. I mean, that's a big deal, right? Getting that far in a competition where it's super easy to get knocked out early is no joke. The intensity of these basketball games is through the roof, and the Pelicans holding their own all the way to that point is something worth talking about. This in-season tournament has been a hit in my opinion. Early season basketball can sometimes be a bit of a yawn, but things usually pick up around mid-February after the trade deadline. That's when teams start putting on that playoff level effort, trying to secure their spot in the postseason. So getting these competitive games early on is a real treat. It's like a sneak peek into which teams have the potential to go deep into playoffs and which ones might just fall short. But for the Pelicans, even with this great achievement, they've got a bit of a shadow hanging over them. Zion Williamson, their star player, is back in the spotlight, but not for the best reasons. It looks like it's the same old issue that's been a thorn in his side ever since he started his career again, and it's popped up again. Following the New Orleans Pelicans' tough loss to the Los Angeles Lakers, two NBA legends Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley didn't hold back their opinions on Zion Williamson's performance. Shaq pointed out that Zion doesn't run hard enough. He related it to his own experience, mentioning how in his early years he thought he was giving it his all, but it was only when he pushed himself beyond his perceived limits that his performance jumped from 20 points a game to 30 and 40. It's like a lesson from one legendary big man to another about the importance of effort and intensity on the court. Charles Barkley, known for his own struggles with fitness early in his career, echoed similar sentiments about Zion. He highlighted a crucial difference between his rookie days and Zion's current situation. Barkley was a rookie when Moses Malone called him out for being fat and lazy, while Zion has been in the league long enough to have overcome these issues. Barkley noted that Williamson has teammates like Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum who were outperforming him. Yet, as a number 1 draft pick, Zion should be leading the pack. He emphasized that Williamson should be the best player on the team, but currently, he's not even close. And the thing is, Charles Barkley's comments on Zion Williamson really hit the nail on the head. Zion was hyped up to be the next LeBron James, especially with the kind of performance he put up at Duke University. The expectations were sky high. We all thought we'd see him dominating the NBA at least half as much as LeBron did, and sure, there are flashes where Zion shows that kind of dominance, but it's just not consistent enough. The most telling example was in the Pelicans game against the Lakers, where they took a heavy loss, 133-89. Zion's stats in that game tell a part of the story. 13 points from 6 to 8 shooting, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, all in 26 minutes. But with a net rating of -33, that's not what you would expect from a player of his caliber. And it's not a one-off thing either. Against Sacramento, he had a +4 net rating with 10 points, but also 4 turnovers. And his performance was also underwhelming against the Chicago Bulls, who were teetering on a rebuild. It's frustrating because the talent and potential are there. You can see it, but for Zion to live up to the LeBron-level expectations, he gotta bring that A game more consistently. Otherwise, he's just not going to reach the heights everyone expected when he first entered the league. The truth is, Williams' recent performance has been a mixed bag, and it's stirring up quite a bit of talk. In one game, he posted 27 points, 5 rebounds, shooting 10 from 15 off the field, which, let's be honest, is a pretty decent stat line. But the thing is, he also had a -12 net rating and 5 turnovers. That's not the kind of impact you'd expect from a player of Zion's caliber. The New Orleans Pelicans, currently sitting in the 7th place, had a shaky start to the season with a 4-6 record due to injuries. They managed to turn things around, including some critical wins in the in-season tournament, which, as you know, has more intense games than the regular ones. They even took down teams like the Sacramento Kings, but the thing is, Zion wasn't really the driving force in those games. After the Pelicans' rough loss to the Lakers, Zion himself admitted that he needs to be more aggressive and find his shot. He acknowledged that he was too laid back and needed to step up, especially on defense. But watching him play against the Lakers, he looked tired, almost gassed out. And Shaq's point stands. Right now, Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum are outperforming him. It almost feels like the Pelicans saw this coming. They know what Zion's capable of, but also his limitations. It's like they prepared for him to not always be the dominant force everyone expects him to be. It's a tough spot for Zion. He's got the talent, no doubt, but it's clear he's still got some work to do to reach his full potential and be the leader the Pelicans need. It's becoming a bit of a broken record with Zion Williamson. There's this ongoing conversation that just keeps repeating itself every season. Despite his unique physique and immense potential, there's a cap on what he can achieve if he doesn't up his game in terms of conditioning and attitude. Stephen A. Smith, always one for straight talk, laid it out pretty clearly when comparing Zion's performance in that tough loss to the Lakers with the 39-year-old LeBron James. LeBron, in his 21st season, was hustling, making plays, looking like the superstar he is. Zion, on the other hand, more than a decade younger but noticeably heavier, just didn't match up. Smith even commented on Zion's physical appearance at the free throw line, noting, "I saw a belly." Sure, Zion's saying the right things publicly. After the Lakers game, he talked about needing to be more aggressive and expecting more from himself. But behind the scenes, it sounds like a different story. Reports from the Times-Picayune suggest that the team's sources are saying that Zion isn't really heeding the advice about improving his diet and conditioning. One thing is clear, Zion has the ability to completely change the narrative and become the key player who could lead New Orleans to their first championship. However, there's a noticeable gap between his performances in regular season games and what's expected of him in high-stakes situations like the playoffs. As the starting power forward, Zion's rebounding rate is more akin to that of a guard, which raises questions about his effort and commitment on the court. This inconsistency is troubling, not just for fans, but also for his teams and coaches. It's frustrating to see a player with such potential show fluctuations in his best condition. It's as if one day he looks in peak form, and the next he's not his best. Comparisons with Anthony Davis and his time with the Pelicans have surfaced, but many argue that Davis had a more impactful career with the team than Zion has had so far. The key issue with Zion seems to be a mix of injuries and poor conditioning, which has prevented him from proving himself as a reliable first option for the team, especially in the playoffs. It's a tough situation for Zion, and it's clear that he needs to make some changes to reach his full potential and live up to the expectations set for him. The hope is that he can turn things around, not just for his career's sake, but also for the Pelicans and their fans.